Ever wonder how the absolute wealthiest people in the world actually operate? Well, it turns out over 80% of millionaires are completely self-made. Today, we're unpacking a fascinating blueprint from our source material on how they managed to turn a super modest starting amount, literally just a simple $5,000, into a massive million-dollar fortune. And honestly, here's the best part. They do it without ever relying on luck. No lottery tickets here. Instead, they use a specific set of tools, which we're going to explore today in this explainer.
So, think about this. If you had just $5,000 to your name right now, and your absolute singular goal was to become a millionaire, where would you actually put that money? It's the kind of hook that forces us to really challenge our current mindset about wealth creation. For most of us, $5,000 just feels like way too little to make a real dent. But the answer to this question might completely change how you view your finances.
Okay, let's dive into this comparison. There is a massive divide between how the average person thinks and how a millionaire thinks. The average playbook? Well, it relies purely on hope, chasing lottery tickets, taking random gambles on whatever the latest trend is, and basically praying for a stroke of luck. But the millionaire playbook is entirely systematic. The wealthy use a small number of very specific wealth machines. We're talking about long-term, compounding systems that reliably grow money over years and decades. They aren't just chasing money, they are building engines that capture it.
To unpack all this, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the million-dollar myth. Second, traditional wealth machines. Third, digital wealth machines. Fourth, the ultimate asset. And finally, the real secret.
Starting right off with Section 1, the million-dollar myth and the secret engine of wealth. Before we look at the specific machines themselves, we absolutely have to shatter this dangerous financial illusion that keeps so many people broke. And that illusion is the belief that becoming a millionaire requires you to start with a massive amount of capital up front. It absolutely doesn't. The true protagonist of wealth building is compounding. This is what happens when your money starts earning money. And then those new earnings start earning even more money. Over time, that growth begins to accelerate exponentially. It's literally like an unstoppable snowball rolling down a hill, just gathering size and speed. The wealthy understand this and leverage it to the absolute max, while the average person kind of just ignores it completely. Which brings us to an incredibly powerful quote from our source material. Most people try to get rich quickly. Millionaires focus on getting rich eventually. Wow, that perfectly captures the shift in timeline required to build real wealth. The fundamental difference in financial outcomes between the rich and the poor usually comes down to patience. When you focus on eventually, you're giving compounding the time it actually needs to perform its magic.
Moving right along to Section 2, traditional wealth machines. We're looking at stocks, real estate, dividends, and acquisitions.
The very first traditional machine is the stock market. Just think about this for a second. By owning shares in companies like Apple, Amazon, or Google, you are literally letting the absolute smartest minds on earth work for you every single day. Historically, the S&P 500 doubles your money roughly every 7 to 10 years. It isn't always flashy, right? But it reliably compounds. You are passively benefiting from the largest global operations out there. And honestly, this has created more millionaires than almost any other asset class.
Next up, we have real estate. If there is one asset class that has created generations of family wealth, is for sure this one. Real estate utilizes rising property values, steady rental income, and the incredible power of leverage to just rapidly accelerate growth. And you know, it always starts small. Step 1. Your first property generates enough equity and cash flow to buy a second. Step 2. Those 2 properties become 5. Step 3. Those 5 become 10. Suddenly, what started as a single down payment has blossomed into a massive real estate empire.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next machine, dividend investing. This is hands down one of the purest, most elegant forms of compounding in existence. Certain companies will actively share their profits directly with you just for holding their stock. The cycle is super simple but incredibly effective. Step 1. You earn dividends. Step 2. You use that cash to buy more shares of the company. Step 3. Because you own more shares, you earn even more dividends the next time around. The cycle just repeats, growing your wealth totally automatically.
Our final traditional machine is kind of a quiet millionaire strategy, acquiring small businesses. Instead of taking on the massive risk of starting a company from absolute scratch, you just buy an existing, profitable local business. You take over, you improve the operations to increase profits, and then you use those new profits to go out and acquire even more businesses. It is the ultimate way to just skip the startup struggle and jump straight into steady cash flow.
Okay, on to Section 3,
digital wealth machines. This is all about scaling with zero marginal cost.
Now, most people don't really think of YouTube as an investment, but actually, it is a surprisingly powerful compounding asset. A video you upload today can just continue generating views, and therefore income, for literally years into the future. You make it once, and it works for you forever. One video becomes 10, 10 become 100. Eventually, a single channel transforms into an absolute income-generating machine. The smartest creators know they aren't just making content, they are building digital real estate. Similarly, we've got digital products. We're talking online courses, design templates, software, ebooks, membership communities. The sheer beauty of digital products is that you create the asset exactly once, but you can sell it thousands or even millions of times. There's no physical inventory, there's no shipping, and there is almost zero friction. Modern entrepreneurs absolutely love this wealth machine because it allows for global scale with practically zero additional cost per sale.
If we zoom out and look at the broader timeline of tech wealth shifts, we see a super clear pattern. Every major technological shift creates a massive wave of brand new millionaires. First, it was the dawn of the internet. Then the explosion of mobile apps. Next was the big rise of social media. And today, we are at step 4, artificial intelligence. AI is absolutely the current frontier. It's an entirely new digital wealth machine, and history clearly shows us that those who learn early and adapt to these shifts are always the ones who benefit the most.
So the crucial point is, none of these machines actually matter if you don't have the means to use them. Which brings us to section 4, the ultimate asset, and that is you, your skills, your brands, and your businesses.
This might honestly just be the most important investment on our list today, because every other machine completely depends on it. The wealthiest people always make their first massive returns by investing in their own capabilities first. High-income skills, things like sales, copywriting, negotiation, or mastering AI, these are the engines that generate the cash to actually feed your other wealth machines. A higher income creates the necessary capital to pump right back into the stock market, real estate, or business acquisitions.
Right alongside your skills is the hidden asset of the modern economy, your personal brand. Building a trusted personal brand opens doors you probably didn't even know existed. Why? Because trust compounds, attention compounds, influence compounds. When people know exactly who you are and they trust your expertise, it leads to endless partnerships, product launches, investments, and consulting opportunities. Your reputation basically becomes a wealth machine all on its own.
And when you combine your skills and your brand, you inevitably face this comparison: a job versus a business. Think about it. A traditional job pays one person for their individual time. But a business, like a software company, an agency, or an e-commerce brand, that can scale to serve millions of people simultaneously. This is exactly why the vast majority of self-made millionaires prefer owning a business. A successful business can generate wealth exponentially faster than decades of standard saving ever could.
All right, section 5, the real secret, the behavior behind the machines.
So, here is the hard truth. None of these wealth machines work overnight. And actually, that's exactly why they work. This is the part most people completely miss. The average person quits way too early because, let's face it, we are addicted to immediate results. Millionaires, on the other hand, understand that wealth requires immense patience, consistency, and time. The barrier to entry isn't intelligence. The real barrier to entry is simply the ability to endure.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Because when you combine the right machine with relentless patience, it builds to that magical number, $1 million. Transforming your initial $5,000 into a massive fortune isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being the person who just keeps investing while everyone else gives up. It requires you to stay in the game longer than anyone else. Time is the ultimate multiplier that turns a tiny little seed into a massive harvest.
So, to summarize our core takeaway from this explainer today, wealth isn't built in days, and it definitely isn't built just by working harder every single day. True wealth is built through systems. It's about setting up intelligent machines, whether that's an AI business, a solid real estate portfolio, or a reliable dividend cycle that do the compounding for you, keeping that growth alive long after you have stopped actively working.
We come back right to where we started, but now, hopefully, with a totally new perspective. If you have a mission to become a millionaire, the smartest move isn't looking for some magical shortcut. It's picking a compounding path and just letting time do its work. Look at the machines we've discussed today. The real question I want to leave you with right now is this: which wealth machine are you going to choose?